Hey guys, how y'all doing, honey? I'm moving slow, child. It is my birthday today. I said that I was going to start getting back into this Diddy trial. I actually have another channel, so y'all should follow me at I don't forgot my damn channel name. It's Politics with Lakeysha. Now, if you guys are watching me on my Lakeyshakeysha channel, I actually created a politics channel. And the reason why I did that is because the YouTube algorithm is really different. Depending on what you talk about, people will see your videos. But if you guys look at my my Lakeyshakeysha channel, I talk about a lot of celebrity reality shows. So when I start to talk about the Diddy stuff, the algorithm doesn't pick it up because I don't really talk about a lot of that. So I created another channel for that, and it is Politics with Keisha. So check that out. But right now I am actually broadcasting on both channels, both my Politics with Lakeysha channel. So if you guys have not went over to my Politics with Lakeysha channel, go over there and subscribe. I'm actually going to put it in the chat because like I said, I am actually streaming on both of the channels because like I said, I don't normally talk about the Diddy stuff, and I'm going to start talking about it. So if you guys are in the chat from my Lakeyshakeysha channel, make sure y'all check out my Politics with Lakeysha channel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a brief update. Originally, y'all, when I tried to do the Diddy updates, I stopped because the way that they do it's a little long-winded. So what happens is they post today's stuff, but it is literally happening at the time that you're doing the stream. So it's sometimes it can be very difficult. Oh, let me shut that window. Oh my gosh. So I try to open my window and get some fresh air, and they decide they want to do yard work or whatever they're doing. So we're gonna do some updates with this Diddy trial. And what I said is I can start maybe doing it a little bit later versus early, because when you start doing it early, you really don't see it because they have to literally come into court and get it started. So if y'all recall yesterday, Jane Doe, now y'all, everybody has pretty much figured out who Jane Doe is. And I'm sure y'all already know 50 Cent. That's all I'm gonna say. So Jane Doe is now being cross-examined by the defense. Now, if y'all don't know who the defense is, the defense is whoever your counsel is. So let's say you were charged with a crime, you have a right to, counsel and to defend yourself. So Diddy's attorneys is cross-examining the Jane Doe. So let's kind of get into what is happening today. Okay, let's kind of get into that. As we know, yesterday she left the stand. She's been up there for a couple of days. She has said a lot. Some of it that she said really made her look real crazy. But, in all honesty, they're supposed to get on the stand and not lie. Although I really feel, a lot of her testimony is like, girl, get a damn job. I'm going to say it like that because I don't understand how you are dependent on a man to pay your bill because you can't pay it, because we know you don't got $10,000, but you're saying that all of these things were done to you. We know you can't afford to pay $10,000. So just leave the situation. I feel like this girl definitely wanted some money, and whatever happened between them two, she definitely was in it for the money because, girl, you needed to get a job. And that's just that. Okay, so we're just going to kind of recap like what has happened thus far this morning. Like I said, a lot of the testimony is staggered because what tends to happen is we get it in real time, but then of course it needs to be updated. So I felt like starting around this time would be a good time because what it does is it gives us the information. Okay, so Jane Doe is back on the stand. Now, what happened? I'm just going to go kind of move backwards as to what was asked. So Jane acknowledges that she met the defense team, but speaking to them in April. So what she's saying is Jane Doe is actually a state's witness, right? So the state brought her in to basically give testimony against Diddy. That's how it goes. So what Jane Doe stated is that she stopped speaking with the defense in April. Now the defense, and keep in mind, is Diddy's team. And I also want to throw out there, this is an extreme crazy story because Diddy is actually paying for this girl's defense and he's actually paying for her rent. So this is just crazy. So as they kick off cross-examination of Jane, the defense attorney, 𝐷𝐸 established with her that they've met several times. So Diddy's attorneys is saying, we've met several times, yada, yada. She agreed that they stopped meeting at some point, okay? So I'm just reading the transcript information. Now, Jane is one of Sean Diddy Combs' accusers. So keep in mind, he's paying for this girl's attorneys. He's paying for her $10,000 rent, but she is now an accuser. And she goes by, she's using a pseudonym name, Jane Doe. That's not her real name. She dated Sean Combs from 2021 to 2024. She also acknowledged that she stopped speaking to the defense in April, as I previously said, just before the trial. Now, she said that she hasn't felt pressured or anything by the defense. Jane also acknowledges that she feels her attorney, who's Sean Combs, Diddy, is paying for, is representing her well, despite Sean Diddy Combs, P. Diddy, paying the fees. Jane has not seen or spoken to Combs since September, since his arrest in New York after, he was taken into custody. Now, the interesting part of this is she ain't spoke to this man. He's still paying her, her lawyer fees. He's still paying her rent. What y'all think? I wouldn't be paying it, but let's continue. Jane says she didn't understand the terms and conditions of her relationship with Combs at first. So is she admitting that there were some terms to her relationship with Combs? She says she don't understand the terms, but you understood that the rent was getting paid. Okay, I'm just going to read the information. Now, defense attorney 𝐷𝐸 asked Jane if she regretted a lot of the choices she made throughout her relationship with Sean Diddy Combs. She says, I resent him for leading me to the lifestyle he led me to, Jane testified. 𝐷𝐸 suggested that Jane choose okay, so Diddy's attorneys is like, did you not choose to participate in that lifestyle? She said, my choices were made under a lot of emotional pressure, she said. Let's stop there. Has anybody ever had a boyfriend, girlfriend? Hello. Yeah, people do recommend stuff. That don't necessarily mean you need to go with it. So I'm just going to read this because a lot of it I don't really understand. I don't know if it's my age difference or what, but men and women recommend a lot of stuff, but that's why you got to go in here and decide if it's something for you or if it's something that you want to do. And this is why I really haven't reported on this story a lot, because I lie somewhere in the middle. I believe that Diddy did a bunch of horrible stuff, and I believe all of these sex capades that they did, I think is absolutely nasty. But who am I to judge what somebody else does in their bedroom? Apparently they liked it because they kept doing it. So let's get into it. So she pretty much blames Diddy and says that her choices were made under a lot of emotional pressure. Well, I know what emotional pressure is, but you either do or you don't. Jane said she was hooked from the beginning of their relationship, but she didn't understand the terms and conditions of what her relationship would be like with him. He was my baby, Jane says. She resents introduction to the lifestyle, but one thing is for sure. She said she still loves Combs. Make it make sense, okay? Jane testified under cross-examination that she resents the way that Sean Diddy Combs went about introducing her to this lifestyle that was built under a lot of emotional manipulation and pressure. But she also says she still loves him. Defense attorney Tenny Geragos took Jane through the entire routine after a hotel night. So let me kind of back up. You remember Cassie said freak offs? Well, this lady is referring to those as hotel nights. So freak offs, hotel nights, it's all the same thing. Now, Jane previously described on direct examination that a hotel night is, like I just kind of explained, is when they get into, the male entertainer situation. Okay, so that's what that is. Jane said she's very naturally nurturing and love to take care of Combs after the hotel night. So she's saying that she loved him. She loved to take care of him, and especially after the hotel nights. Okay, so let's keep it going. Jane said I read that already. She said that he was her baby. Jane said she'd give him a lot of foot massages, feed him, and bathe him. So she gave a grown man a bath. That's something that they do when you go to have a massage. I mean, but I guess she put on his favorite show, Dateline, and they watch it until he fell asleep. Jane testified that she endured the hotel nights so that they can have time together afterwards. So, apparently she participated in these hotel night freak offs because she wanted to take care of him afterwards. This is what the information says. Jane stated, I'm breaking all of my own boundaries just to make him feel extremely loved. Now, this is what it says in the documentation. Jane testified that she didn't want Sean Diddy Combs to feel judged during the hotel nights because it was a vulnerable moment. I felt that my partner was trusting me in a very vulnerable moment. And so he made me believe that this was something really special. This was something only he and I did. And I really took that on very strongly, she said. So somehow Jane Doe, keep in mind, she's now saying she didn't want to do these things, but then she also stated she never told him she didn't want to do it. She did it to please him. But she's also now saying she thought that it was something that they were just doing. But eventually she learned that, this was something that also happened with Cassie. So she said she believed that while they were together, she was the only woman Combs was having hotel nights with. She said she would go through messages on his phone to make sure. Jane testified that she left loved at the time because we experienced these things together. And because they were really special to him, and as time went on, it was very conflicting for me internally because I'm breaking all of my own boundaries just to make him feel extremely loved, she added. And this is kind of where I, because if you guys read the information, okay, and again, this is not saying, that Sean Diddy Combs is a great guy. We saw that video, so we know he gonna put hands on people because we saw the video. But this is seeming so much like a love story to me. I mean, she talks about wanting to take care of him, wanting to feel like that they were spending time together. Then she goes on to say she did these things because she wanted to love him after the hotel night. So I'm still waiting to see the sex trafficking, which is really bringing a lot of reasonable doubt, because I thought when this, trial first started, that people was going to be chained up. They couldn't leave. So a lot of this is seeming like a lost love story of a bunch of women that just didn't get the man that they wanted because he had a lot of other women. So if we gonna lock him up, we need to start locking all ninjas up, because I'm just a little bit confused. Okay. So she talks about the sexual encounters with or without entertainers often involve role play with Combs, Jane said when asked. Again, we talking about these people's sex life, which I don't get. But anywho, defense attorney 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭 suggested that Jane choose to take ecstasy during a hotel night because it made her feel uninhibited and allowed her to play into Sean Diddy Combs' fantasies for several hours. So Diddy's defense attorneys is saying, girl, you wanted to take this, right? Jane said, my choice to take the ecstasy, I would say Mr. Combs will offer me the ecstasy and expect me to take it. So it's like you're going around the question. So somebody can offer me something, but thank you. Somebody can offer me something, but I would literally have to say yes, right? So she's kind of going around the question here. So 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭 suggested that Jane, which is Jane Doe, this is a fake name, that she actually wanted to take ecstasy on her own, is what Diddy's attorneys are saying. And she's saying that it was her choice, but she would say that he offered it to her and expected her to take it. She doesn't have to take something because someone expects her to take it. When asked, Jane says that the sexual encounters with or without entertainers usually involve role play with Combs. During a hotel night, Combs often directed her to play into a cheating fantasy with the entertainer, she testified. She said, Sean left town and I'm home alone with me and whomever, and I'm sneaking in this entertainer, and it's just me and this entertainer. She's talking about a fantasy. She said, but Sean is on a plane and I couldn't wait to get this entertainer all alone. So basically what she's doing is she's describing a fantasy. She's saying, when we didn't have the male escorts, the strippers or whatever, she says, this is the fantasy that he wanted me to play into, which I understand, but I don't understand what this has to do with the case. I mean, people in their sexcapades or whatever they do, I don't get it. So she's talking about this fantasy, right? She said, Sean, this fantasy included Puff Daddy leaving town, being on a plane, and she sneaking with some man that she just wants to have sex with. When asked, Jane confirmed Combs was aroused by giving directions to her and the entertainer during the hotel night. So she's saying, he would provide me directions and he got off on it. You see what I'm saying? I'm just like, this case is, I don't know if he's going to be guilty or not guilty. It's like the case is all over the place. But if you look, and even watching some of these YouTubes, this is what I have learned. I've learned this. Women are so fucking emotional, okay? Women are like, he guilty. I'm just not that kind of woman. I'm not an overly emotional person. While I understand how you feel as a woman, I also understand this. You were not locked up. If he forced you to do something, or even if you felt forced, you did it consistently over and over again. She did it because she wanted the damn rent paid. Let's just be serious. I mean, if you guys even watch the testimony leading up to this, you wanted your rent paid, girl. Let's just call it what it is. So I also feel like this Jane Doe, she has a son. So imagine what could potentially happen to her, being that you out here tricking with, these different men, and then in one instance talking about she did it at her house. Girl, you gonna about to lose your son. So I also feel like some of this could play into her testimony, because if I'm a victim now, guess what? Yeah, you ain't gonna be able to take my kids, because if I'm saying I was SCX trafficked, you can't do anything to me. So you kind of gotta like listen to some of this. Like, for instance, when the state is presenting their case, I'm listening, but I really make my decision after the cross examination. And I'm going to tell you why. When a person is a strong witness, they're going to be a strong witness regardless. But when they start lying and second guessing, and now, can't answer the question right, y'all got to understand, this nigga got a lot of money. So people are going to try to get their piece of the pie. Now, everybody want to say, okay, Cassie was the one. Yeah, she was. And now everybody got the same story. You see what I'm saying? So something just isn't adding up. Then after you listen to this lady's testimony of how dirty dog she said he was, she still was with him up until the day he got arrested. You cannot continue to tell me that somebody is, I'm not saying he a good person, but girl, why didn't you leave? Why? You didn't leave because you wanted a house for $10,000. So you rather somebody have you sucking dick, okay, all these stinky men's, because she talked about how the man was stinking, but you was sucking his thing, okay? So you rather do that? I don't know. I don't know. I gotta like really listen to everything. I really feel he's guilty of a lot of stuff. I just don't know about this. I don't think they hit the nail on the head here. Now, listen to this. Jane says she'd willingly get back together with Combs after they stopped talking. So, y'all stop talking. You should have been able to clear your head. Keep in mind, this man is still paying your rent, but somehow you make your way back to the money. It's the money. Listen, one thing people can't tell me is how girls think, because guess what? I'm a girl, so I know exactly how women think. I've been in a situation before, well, none where I was being SEX trafficked, but in a situation where you are getting on my nerves. And I'm just like, man, but you pay everything. You see what I'm saying? So it'd be hard because you'd be like, dang, he pay everything. So if I leave him, now I got to pay it. So it'd be a decision that you have to make. And it's a hard decision. Imagine not having to pay nothing. And then you decide to get rid of this person. Now you got to pay everything. So not saying that Diddy is a good person, but they are not telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the damn truth. Because let me kind of get back into the testimony. What you're going to learn is she set up and told us all of these things, but yet she was still asking for money. I remember, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to, finish reading the transcript. I remember I left somebody. I'm never going to say their name because I don't give a damn about them. I'll never forget. I left their ass and they knew it was a wrap. They would be calling me like, what you doing? I'd be like, I'll call you back. Get off my phone. Like, stop trying to call me with small talk. And I'll never forget, this person called me and was like, you know what? I was like, what? He was like, I got a house. I was going to give it to you. I was like, no, that's okay. I don't want it. I'll call you back. That was the hardest thing I ever did. But I knew if I would have took that house, I would have never got rid of his house. You see what I'm saying? So women know what to do and how to do it. And they are manipulative. Women can be manipulative. That's why when reading this, I read it like a woman, because I know the type of shit women do. Okay? I know. I keep saying, right. That's what I'm saying. It's more levels to this. Now, by no means y'all catch this. Am I saying that Diddy is a good person? I ain't say that either, but I'm just saying, listen, you may get your ass beat a little bit if you feel like you finna get 500,000. I'm just saying, like some people, and listen, back when I was, putting up with stuff wasn't hard like it is now. It's hard as hell now. So they putting up with a lot more than I would have put up with. So I think it's more layers to this. So let's get back into it. So, Jane says she'd willingly, that's the operative word. She says she would willingly get back together with Combs after they stopped talking. So willingly, y'all, he didn't, put nothing up to her head. He didn't tie her hands behind her back. She said she would willingly get back together with Combs after times that they had stopped talking. Now, defense attorney 𝐷𝐸𝐾𝐨𝐿 returned to some of the times that Jane and Sean Diddy Combs would get in arguments and stop talking. We would get back because we missed each other. Y'all, this is giving some type of relationship. We missed each other. She liked him. We missed each other. We would get back together because we missed each other. This is what she testified. Jane confirmed that she wanted to be with Combs. She wanted to be with him. So you would get back together with him of your own volition. This is what Diddy's attorneys asked her. Y'all guess what she said? Yes. So again, when we trying to paint this narrative that you was sex trafficked, I just want y'all to bring it together. Now, I know with the prosecution, these folks keep saying, I was scared. Well, I thought that I couldn't say no. Okay. I mean, I done been in relationships with people where, I felt like if I said no, they would get mad, but I didn't give a damn. Or maybe I lied, to get what I wanted, and then I changed it. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like, y'all is not being 100% here. So in her testimony, she like, yeah, I got back with him because I wanted to. Girl, he wasn't chasing you. He wasn't locking you up. So Diddy's attorneys is like, girl, you got back with him because you wanted to get back with him, right? Yes. Now listen to this. And this is why I say I make my decision based on a cross-examination, because let me make sure y'all understand. The prosecutors, thank you for the birthday wishes. The prosecutor's job is to do one thing, and that's to put his ass in jail. However they do it, that's how it goes. So the defense is there to defend. So because they're there to defend, they're going to ask specific questions. And also know this, the defense, they don't have witnesses. They just cross-examine the state's witness. So the onus is on the state to present the case. The defense is just giving y'all that reasonable doubt, like, okay, y'all, if this happened, let's see, we'll ask this question. So she said Combs would uplift me. Jane says when asked to say what she loved about him. Okay, so y'all, he wasn't a complete dirtbag in her eyes, because she said he uplifted her at some point. She said that he uplifted her, and she said this is what she loved about him. Defense attorney 𝐷𝐸𝐾𝐨𝐿 asked Jane to talk about the things that she loved about Combs. Jane said Combs beamed a very bright light when she met him, and said she was fascinated by him. She was fascinated by him. Have y'all ever been in a relationship with somebody that you was fascinated by? She said she was fascinated by him. Jane also testified Combs, who she said is very motivating and encouraging, helped her to be less shy and more confident. She said he would uplift me. Jane also confirmed that Combs supported her dress and swimwear fashion lines. He invested about $20,000 in her dress line, she said. Now, do y'all see what I'm talking about? I need to hear everything because when the prosecution had her on the stand, we didn't hear any of this. It was like she was a victim. Oh, well, now you're telling us he motivated you and he fascinated you. So he did help you in some way, and that's why you stayed. So this is what I'm talking about, okay? Jane says she felt like she only met 10% of her own earning potential while dating Combs. So this is the point that I want to point out. You know, in Cassie's lawsuit, do y'all remember what she said? The freak offs was a job. I didn't get a chance to do nothing else. So essentially, what Cassie said is, I was really working, is really what Cassie is saying. That's what Cassie really said. Okay. Well, Jane Doe says she felt like she only met 10% of her earning potential while dating Combs. So again, this same scenario. Jane confirmed that Sean Diddy Combs sent her money through their relationships, and most of the time she didn't ask for it. Now, she did not say this on the stand. Wait, y'all, let me grab some tissues. Okay. Y'all have to get some tissue. They be having the air like on. Whew, it's cold in here. So she's saying that she only met 10% of her earning potential. She also said he sent her money she didn't ask for. Do y'all remember what she said on the stand with the prosecution? I mean, listen, give me a man that sent me some money that I didn't ask for because I got something on my nose. Oops, excuse me. But she said he sent her money she didn't ask for. Okay. Defense attorney Tenny Garagos asked if the total amount wired her was more than 150,000. So Diddy's attorneys is like, well, did you get more than 150,000 at one time? She said, listen to this bullshit. This is where I just be like, girl, quit lying. Have y'all ever got some money that you didn't count? Because I wouldn't give a damn how much you give me. I'm counting every penny of it. And if it's too much, I'm going to go to the store and buy one of those money counters. Who don't have, oh, I never counted it. This girl she mixing truth with lies. And this is why I be looking at them side eye. She says, I never really counted, but I will assume, yeah, but that would be close. Mic drop. The defense attorney asked her, had he ever wired her? Let's just go back. Y'all, I'm sure y'all done had Zelle, y'all done had Cash App. When the money show up, you don't need to count it because it tells you how much was sent to you. So he asked her, had she ever received more than $150,000 at one time? And that's what she said. I never really counted, but I would assume, yeah, that would be close. What? So if money is wired to you, do you really need to count it? I mean, she's making it seem like he just brought her 150,000 and she never counted it. She's not being honest. This lady she got some lies there. This don't make sense. So she says that, I mean, he could have sent me more than 150,000, but the question was, defense attorney Tenny Garagos asked if the total amount that Combs wired her was more than 150,000. So if he wired it to you, you would not need to count it because it shows as a deposit and it tells you the amount. She says, I never really counted, but I would assume, yeah, that would be close. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That don't make sense, ma'am, because you wouldn't count it. The bank would say you got $150,000 deposit. Jane said that when she met Combs in 2020, she was making money from Instagram influencing and also received $4,700 per month in child support. And why is she only getting $4,700 a month in child support when we all know who her baby daddy is? But we just gonna keep going. Once she was with Combs, she said she couldn't devote time to influencing and felt like she only met 10% of her earning potential during the relationship. Do y'all understand where this is going? This is the same thing Cassie said. So I'm not saying that there can't be resemblances, but do y'all understand how when you say now if she would have said, the situation with the freak off situation, okay, I get it. If that's his thing, it would probably be the same. But she's really saying that because she did these things, that she couldn't work. Well, let's see. I don't know. So she's saying once she met him, she wasn't able to make any money. Jane and Combs didn't want any hotel night information to leak, she says. So, I guess they didn't want any of this information out, but I mean, he was charged with a crime, so it's out. Jane testified that when she moved into the new home in April 2023, she thought that if we got a home that was to Sean Diddy Combs' taste level, then we could just start at least doing hotel nights here. Now, y'all, this is what I was talking about. So the lady got a house and was going to have the freak-offs where her son lived. Yeah, this ain't good. Let me reread that. Jane testified then that when she moved into the new home in April of 2023, she thought that if we got a home that was to Sean Diddy Combs' taste level, y'all know because he rich, he got a taste level, then we could just start at least doing hotel nights here in the privacy of our own home. Who would want to do this type of stuff? Have this type of spirit around your son? Like, even if your son isn't there, you giving weirdos your address, you putting those spirits in the house with your son. Ain't that crazy? But let's carry on. She said that if she got a house to Sean's taste level, that they can just freak off hotel nights where her son lay his head. Jane confirmed. Now, keep in mind, this is what she thought. This is not what he said. So this is why we're paying attention, because we're trying to figure this story out. And a lot of this is not making sense. Let me put my disclaimer out there. No, I am not taking up for Sean Diddy Combs. I'm simply saying I want to see where these people was tied up and they was forced, and not to continually say, oh, because I thought he would get mad. Okay. Jane confirmed that she and Combs did not want anything about the hotel nights to leak. She confirmed that it was important that the public didn't know anything about the hotel nights and that Combs' employees didn't know anything about the entertainers. Defense attorney Tenny Garagos asked if they had done any hotel nights at Jane's previous apartment, and she confirmed that they had. So this lady, what y'all thinking? I mean, she's having freak offs, and she was having them at the apartment that her son laid his head for a man. Remember, Jane, who dated Combs from 2021 to 2024, testified last week that as part of their love contract she entered into with him in 2023, Combs agreed to give her $10,000 a month that she used to rent for a new home. She moved into the rented house in April 2023, and Combs still right now today, pay the rent. And lady, why are you renting a house for $10,000 a month? Why won't you just purchase your property? But that's a whole nother story. Okay. So she testified he's still paying the rent. So there's an audio, they said there's loving audio messages between Combs and Jane, which was sent after their Turks and Caicos trip. Now, defense attorney Tenny Gergo showed the jury text messages and audio messages between Jane and Sean Diddy Combs from March 2023, right after the Turks and Caicos trip. She previously testified that during that trip, Combs sprung, and when I say sprung, an entertainer showed up that she didn't know about. He sprung an entertainer and a hotel night on her, prompting an argument that threw things off between the two of them for days. So, sprung meaning she didn't know. So, she said that he had an entertainer come on their trip. She didn't know about it, yada, yada, yada. Okay. The two traded loving text messages and voice messages about how much fun they had. In Combs' voice note, he said he loved her. So, previous testimony. So, in previous testimony, she talked about, they went on this trip. She wanted to go on the trip. He took her on a trip, but then she said, "Wait a minute." He had this entertainer to show up. But what the defense is saying, you said all of these things, but yet, right after, y'all were sending lovey-dovey text messages, if this makes sense. So I'm just trying to, tell the full story here. So, and then there was a text message and a voice note where he said he loved her. Combs also mentioned Jane's contract. Remember, she's going by the Jane Doe. Now, this was on the audio recording, which Jane testified was a reference to the love contract that they had just did, which led to him paying $10,000 a month for her home. Now, he paying $10,000 a month for her home, and her own baby daddy ain't even giving her $10,000 a month. Girl, you need to get your whole life together. The jury heard an upbeat recorded response that Jane sent telling him that she had had so much fun on the trip and loved him and felt closer to him. Mic drop. So this is why we gotta just listen to everything, because she previously testified in so many words that she was forced to do all of these things on the trip. Okay, so let's say you and your friend get into a fight at your house and the friend leave. What you may text her is, "You punk ass bitch." You know what I mean? Some of that. You're going to be like, "Girl, I love you." So it's just not making any sense. Where are these text messages that you were so outraged because you felt like you had to do all of these things? Okay. But in the text messages, she said that she felt closer to him. How in the hell do you feel closer to somebody that you say forced you to do something that you didn't want to? I'm just saying. Jane testified that she did have fun with Combs and was expressing that she loved the time with him, excluding the time they spent with the entertainers. So this is what y'all saying in the chat, because I'm just trying to understand. Like, I'm really trying to understand this. And, I understand. Yeah, my nose is running because they got the air like up and my nose is running. But I'm trying to understand, like, and maybe, everybody be like, it's victims of abuse. Shit, I mean, I don't know if I ever been abused like that, but I done had to crack a nigga upside his head before. You know what I mean? You hit me, you're getting hit back. So am I a victim? I mean, I'm just trying to understand, like, how do these folks think? Because this is the deal. I'm confused. I'm just saying, like, I don't get it. Like, I don't know. This is, now everybody is pacified. When I grew up, we had to figure shit out. You didn't get to go to no therapist. You got your ass whooped. You know what I mean? So I don't understand this. We just gonna keep reading it because your girl is not understanding their level of trauma. Okay. Combs use rent money, she said, kind of as a little tool, Jane said. Jane confirmed that when she moved into her rented home in April 2023, Sean Diddy Combs paid $40,000 upfront to cover the security deposit and the rent for the first and the last month. Now, this is a woman saying that she felt like she didn't work enough when she was with him. Is she adding up all of the expenses? She just said that he has wired her no more than $150,000. So if we just look at the 150, and now he had to put $40,000 for you to move in, and she must got bad credit because the only people that pay first and last month rent, well, I know you got to pay your first month, but if you have to pay a security deposit, it's because you got bad credit, okay? So this lady had to pay a $40,000 upfront cost, okay? And this is to cover security deposit and rent for the first and last month. Let me break that down for y'all. The rent for first month is $10,000. The rent for last month is $10,000. She had to pay a $20,000 deposit, which means she got bad credit because I don't pay deposits. I've never had to pay anything like that. Well, yes, I did when I had bad credit, but I don't got bad credit no more. So now, defense attorney Tenny Geragos pointed out that the landlord already possessed several months of rent payments in case Combs ever decided to stop paying the rent. So essentially, this girl has $30,000 of money put up with the landlord because security deposit was paid for $20,000. So that's 2 months. And then she had to pay the last month. So 3 months. And they're going to say this. They're going to say it. So his attorney is saying, but he already paid. So even if he stopped paying, you still have 3 months to your credit. Geragos suggested Combs indicated that he was also open to paying 3 more months of Jane's rent when they were about to break up. So keep in mind, they already got 3 months. She got a 3-month credit. So let's say she stopped paying her rent. The judge would not put her out because she's already paid 3 months. She's paid a $20,000 security, which is 2 months rent. And then he paid last month's rent. So girl, you already got a credit. But it's also stated that Diddy told her, hey, if we break up, I'm just going to pay your month, your rent for 3 months. I mean, let's just be honest here, y'all. Now, I ain't saying that, he no good person, but I don't know nobody that's going to break up with you and still pay your rent. So it's just like, girl, you got to tell us the whole story because it's some lies being told here. It's definitely some lies being told. Okay. Geragos asked Jane if she ever believed that Combs would stop paying her rent. Girl, why your baby daddy ain't paying your rent? There was some times that I definitely felt that he would do that, Jane said. And he used it kind of like a little tool. The rent was always just like a little reminder. Why your baby daddy ain't paying it? Why he not paying it? Why is another man paying your rent while your baby daddy is giving you $4,700, which isn't half of what he's giving you, but you say, oh, I felt like he was using it as a little tool. Is this lady crazy? Like, help me out, y'all. Because I'm like, huh? What? So she said he kept it as a little reminder. Jane, okay, so let's get into the little footnote. It says Jane, who dated Combs from 2021 to 2024, testified last week that as part of the 2-year love contract that she entered with him in 2023, that he agreed to pay her rent. This is just kind of like a footnote. Now, she talked about their relationship. She said she wanted him to be hers. So keep in mind, this is a horrible person. You know, he's a horrible person, but she still wanted him to be hers. Do you want a piece of nickel to be yours? I'm just saying, she still wanted him to be hers. She said that she wanted Combs to be hers. This is what it says. Describing a time when Jane still was getting to know Sean Diddy Combs, she testified she was with him in Miami before he bought her a pair of shoes at the Bottega store and a bracelet. Okay. During that trip, he explained to her that he had led a poly dating lifestyle. Jane said she didn't mind at first because they were getting to know each other, but it became difficult once she had deeper feelings for him. So here's my deal. He told you that he was a freak, okay? What? Okay. I don't know if it's my age or what, but usually men don't tell you stuff. They don't tell you if they like men. A lot of stuff they don't tell you. He said that he had a lot of hoes. And I mean, he told you this. Okay, we got to read this again because this is just too much. She said she wanted him to be hers. He explained to her he lived like a poly lifestyle. So he told her that he was in so many words, he kind of told her that that ain't gonna happen because I like hoes, is pretty much what he said. So I'm just like, let me meet somebody to be honest. I think I met one guy in my whole life that was so honest, and he was like the best friend I ever had. You usually don't meet that. They lie, but he told her, I got hoes. This is what he told her. But she said, listen to what she said. So imagine meeting a guy that you like and he be like, I got hoes. One thing I'm not gonna do is expect for you to leave your hoes because you told me that you had hoes. So he said, he said I got hoes, but she said it became difficult because she had deeper feelings for him. But he said he got hoes. She said I was feeling my man and wanted him to be mine. Girl, get out of your feelings. He said he had hoes. Okay. Jane also said she felt there was an imbalance in treatment that she got from Combs in comparison to how he treated the other girls. What? This is what I keep telling y'all. This is like a crazy relationship between women who mad because they didn't get shoes. What do you mean it was a different treatment in relationship? Of course, that's why he said he got hoes, because he treats y'all all different. That's why they have different people, because they want to experience different things and they want to do different things. So imagine this. And this is why I really haven't talked about this, because inside in my brain, I'm like, okay, so what we talking about? He told you he had hoes, okay? A lot of them. He told you this from day one. You decided to get into your feelings, and now you said, oh, he treated them different. What? Huh? I'm not a Sean Diddy Combs fan, but listen, he told you he had hoes. And why is it a crime to be a cheater? Because if that's a crime, I'm gonna go rally motherfuckers up, go lock them up too. Okay? I'm just not understanding. But he told you he had hoes. You wanted to be the number one hoe. It didn't work. Like, and now you're saying, oh, he treated, not saying that Cassie was lying, but something about her story wasn't all the way to me true either. That's the same thing she said. What makes this criminal? That people treat you different. I mean, I need to see more than what she's saying here. So she basically saying, she's talking about their relationship. And I'm just like, girl, I want to get to the sex trafficking part. Jane said, I didn't sign up to date a man that was in a public relationship. If you don't get the FUCK off the stand right now, ma'am, what? This is not giving sex trafficking. Jane said, I didn't sign up to date a man that was in a public relationship. Now we gonna get into Young Miami, honey, because they got smoke for Young Miami because, I think the difference with Young Miami is she realized who she had and she just played the cards that, accordingly. Hey, it is what it is. Jane said it became difficult for her when Diddy Combs started spending time with Young Miami about 6 months to a year after they began dating. So she got a problem with Young Miami. Have anybody ever dated somebody that cheated on them? Did you go to court and tell the world, girl, get off of the stand? Like, I'm sick of hearing this. I want to hear the sex trafficking. Okay. So she had a problem because he was being seen all around with Young Miami. This is really giving bitter. Combs and Young Miami had a very public relationship that appeared to be monogamous, and they would post each other on their social media. But Jane said her relationship with Combs was private. She mad because I'm sorry, my nose is running because they got the air up. But do y'all see what I'm saying? I don't like this because all of these nuances about you was dating her and you kept me a secret. Why I'm confused. That don't got nothing to do with anything. Like, that is his treatment showing you how he feel about you, or I don't know, but why they telling us about it? Like, can they keep us out of the group chat in that part? So she has a problem with Young Miami. She has a problem being a secret because in old woman fashion, we feel like if we not put out for the world to see, then you don't like us. And that is exactly what she's feeling. She's feeling like he doesn't like her. She said her relationships was private, but he flaunted Young Miami everywhere, and she was jealous. Let's just call it what it is. It was definitely not something that I signed up for. Jane said, I didn't sign up to date a man that was in a public relationship. So she felt like shit. She felt disregarded. She didn't feel important. She felt like a private, and she felt like a hoe because that's exactly what she was doing, is being a hoe because, they was doing a little freak off thing. So she didn't like that. But I don't know why we knowing about this. I'm just trying to know about the sex trafficking. But it goes on. Combs wasn't taking care of himself, Jane says. As the defense suggests, she knew of his addiction early. So, as they stated before, they said he was on drugs. She said on their first trip to 𝐼𝐶𝐾 and 𝐾𝐿, Jane suggested Diddy Combs got to a rehabilitation center in Thailand when she realized how the drugs had been affecting him, is what she testified. She said, on the flight to 𝐼𝐶𝐾 and 𝐾𝐿, she noticed his shaking hands, eyes, and teeth, and coloring seemed off. She said his shaky hands. This is what she testified. I could tell he wasn't taking very good care of himself, Jane said. Defense attorney Tenny Garrigo suggested that Jane knew that he was on drugs earlier. So, girl, she's like, you knew this already. In the beginning, I didn't really know how to label it, she said. So she said she probably did know. I encountered something that was overdoing. She basically said she thought they were partying too much. Jane added, as our relationship continued, I noticed a very strong pattern, and I still didn't really even label it as a drug addict. I think now I would say that But then I just would say that he was really partying a lot, is what she's saying. She said toward the end of the relationship, Jane learned Combs was taking antidepressants. So he was taking something to, to not be depressed. Okay. He's definitely a junkie. I mean, it's all in the paperwork. So she said toward the end of their relationship, Jane learned Combs was taking antidepressants. She said she confirmed she wanted to get him off of the drugs and back to his natural form. She testified that Combs had once told her he was interested in getting ketamine therapy. So he was interested in getting ketamine therapy, y'all. So he was definitely on the drugs, child. So they didn't give a damn about them kids, Jasmine. Yeah, they was money hungry. And this is not saying that I don't believe victims. Listen, I done told y'all today my birthday. I'm 50. I'm old as fuck. I'm not stupid. I know when people are not telling us the full story. Now, I'm not in no way, shape, or form saying that Sean Diddy Combs is a good person. I believed he used his money to his advantage. But I don't know if he used it to his advantage, because why do you feel like you got to pay hoes to sleep with you? I mean, I'm sure it's plenty women that got their own money. They probably do that already and got their own money. So I think he made some huge mistakes. But these women are bitter, they're mad, and they're jealous. I feel like even a situation with Cassie. Now, he had no reason to be whooping on that woman like that. But let me tell you this. All you got to do is hit me one time. It ain't going to be multiple times. I ain't taking no pictures. I'm not doing none of that. The fact of the matter is they love the lifestyle. They wanted to keep the lifestyle, and to be able to keep it, they put up with it. They put up with it. And now that, he done moved on, he doing it to whoever else he's doing it with. Now you looking like your ass is broke. You didn't get nothing out of it. You got whooped up. You slept with all the men. You're broke. Cassie, you got children. Now you got him. He ain't got no money. So I feel like, too, you looked at your life and thought of a plan on how you can come up. And that's what you did. I mean, think about it. Cassie, this happened how long ago? Why didn't you sue him after you left? Like, what took you so long? I mean, I believe she was definitely motivated by money, because if y'all recall, she sued Diddy for 20 million. Then she sued the hotel and got another 10 million. So think about it. Let's just think about this. If somebody did some shit back to me back some days, years ago, and I can get 20 million, I'm suing their asses too. I sure am. So I feel like Cassie used this to her advantage. And I feel like this lady, which I'm learning that they're saying that she is definitely money motivated. They saying that she read Cassie's lawsuit, and some of the things, which is very interesting because I pointed that out. Some of the things Cassie said, it's the same thing she's saying. But when I say it's the same thing, like she's saying, oh, I didn't get to work, or I was doing freak offs all the time. Girl, you were getting a lot of money too. So, people change. I don't know what Cassie was getting in terms of monetary, other than, I know she had a nice house, but I believe the house that she had could have been in Diddy's name. I really believe it was. But this woman was getting $150,000 wired money into her account, but then you sit up there and try to make it seem like he wasn't getting none. I'm going to need y'all to tell the whole damn truth. So the court now is on break. I just checked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start back a little bit later, and then we'll kind of pick up where they left off. So what I decided to do is, if I'm going to do these, I kind of have to do it later in the day, because I can look at what they previously said. Originally, when I had started doing these, it was like you doing a live and then you kind of just waiting. I don't like that. So what I'll do is I'll do the recaps But I just have to wait until like the afternoon once they kind of put it out. Otherwise, it's just a mess and it's unorganized and I hate it. So I'll see y'all back this afternoon.